All right. There we go.
Very good. Good evening, everyone. My name is Luis Perez-Pedi. I serve as chair of the Historic Districts Commission in Concord. Welcome to the October 2022 meeting of the Town of Concord Historic Districts Commission. The commission will review 1 continuance and 3 new applications this evening, and at the end, we'll conduct other businesses. We're conducting this meeting online in accordance with the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Executive Order suspending certain provisions of the Open Meeting Law. The public may access this call through both telephone and video conferencing. Members of the public will have an opportunity to ask questions and provide public comment on applications and discussions following the petitioner's presentation and questions from the commission. To do so, please raise your hand in the participant function of the Zoom meeting platform. If you're calling in and cannot use the platform, you may raise your hand by dialing *9. Our host will mute microphones of those not speaking to preserve bandwidth and may need to turn off video except for the commissioners, the host, and the current applicant. I will call on each commissioner for comments on an application and then open the meeting for public comment. Once there are no more public comments, I will ask for a motion from the commission to continue, to approve with conditions, or to reject. A second, and then conduct a roll call vote. Once the commission has acted on an application, the applicant is free to leave the meeting. We will do now a roll call of the members of the commission. Kate Schartner.
Here.
Abigail Flanagan.
Here.
Peter Nobili.
Here.
Melinda Shumway.
Here.
Paul Ware will join us in a little while, I understand, and I am here. So voting members will be all. Is Paul there? Okay. Voting members will be all commissioners present. And for the application, when we consider the application of 363, Abigail Flanagan will recuse herself, and Michael and Paul Ware will be a voting member. Will assume his role as a full member of the commission. So the first application we have is a continued hearing, which is 363 Main Street, where we should wait for. Is Paul here? Okay, so let's give Paul a chance to arrive. So why don't we go ahead and consider the application of 285 Independence Road. Are we here? Erica
Chang and Mark White. I'm going
Perfect.
to speak for the project.
Okay, well, good evening and welcome. If you want to present very quickly or present what the plan is.
Okay.
An outline of the project.
Happy to do so. Hold on a moment. So my name is Mark White. My company is Architectural Elements. We're in Boxborough, so right around the corner. We specialize in the supply and installation of architectural millwork components in both wood and synthetic materials. We've worked all over Massachusetts, some in Concord as well, and also throughout the United States. I'm here tonight to represent Charles and Erica Chang of 285 Independence Road for the replacement of their roof-mounted balustrade, which was destroyed in the tornado of 2016. The Changs were before this board in November 2019, submitted an application for a certificate of appropriateness, which was approved by this board on 12/23/2019. Before their project could begin in the spring of 2020, of course, COVID happened, and their approval has since lapsed, during which time they also had to negotiate a settlement with their insurance company, which took over 3 years. We've made some minor changes to their original application. The railing will still look exactly as it was detailed previously, and per the drawings you have as part of the application, which is basically a scaling of the original railing to meet a new one that will meet code height requirements. The only change is in the method of construction, which is minor. The material used for the balusters, and a change to making full balusters as opposed to half balusters, which were used in the original construction, which was never meant to be structural. The handrail profile will be set at 36 inches is required by code. We have no way to change that, unfortunately. The material will be solid sapele, which is a mahogany derivative, South American. The newel posts and caps will be modeled after the original, simply taller to receive a 36 rail height. Those would be PVC and painted. Finally, the balusters would be made from high-density polyurethane or PVC. We're still not sure which one we're going to use. But both are synthetic materials, very similar to wood in density and texture and final finish when painted. These will look like the old balusters. The railing will look completely like wood in shape and profile, though they had to be scaled up in size to meet the code height requirements. Basically, once painted, these will look no different than wood, either up close or from 20 feet away, which is where they will be from grade. But they will represent a greatly reduced maintenance cycle for the customer as opposed to doing the same in wood, which would require painting every 5 years, maybe more. We're hoping you find these changes minimal and issue a new certificate of appropriateness as possible so they can complete what's been a 7-year saga for them of trying to get these railings replaced.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm going to ask the members of the commission to make comments. Kate.
Hi. No comments beyond everything will be painted. I gather the sapele won't be unpainted. But are they all going to be painted the same formula? It's not going to be like oil on the wood and latex on the PVC, is it?
No, latex for everything. Latex for
Okay.
exterior now is what we use.
Okay, that was it.
Thank you very much, Kate. Abigail.
So I was just curious, in the application, in the narrative that was submitted, it said that when meeting with HDC staff a number of years ago, kind of 2 options were kind of suggested or what have you, and this was one, but what was the other option that was discussed?
I can't answer that because I wasn't the person who presented it. All I'm following on is what was approved. I would assume, though, that there was a all wood option that was presented. Although this has been technically challenging, some of the spans are significant. They're well over 12 feet. And this roof never really was meant to have a structural rail on top of it. They went to great expense to put all these posts. The old railing, when I first went there, was basically sitting on top of the roof. It wasn't attached via posts that were let down into the framing. All these details here, these are framing details that the the framing has already been installed. Another contractor installed that after they received this prior certificate. And so those are there. So we're kind of committed to what it is now. But I don't even know what it was originally, what their option 2 was.
Okay, and so the difference between what we approved in the previous application and this is materials and composition, not design.
Yeah, you're looking at the same design almost exactly.
But it was an all wood construction in the previous approval.
It was all wood. That's what that was the biggest difference, is they had a wood design that we've changed to a hybrid of wood handrails to make the spans, but synthetic balusters to cut down on the maintenance, because the balusters are the most expensive thing to paint. And there's a lot of them.
Mm-hmm. And then the application discusses fasteners.
Yeah.
I'm just, if you could go into detail on that. I don't think it's an issue, but I just wanted some clarification as to where those are mounted and that type of thing.
Most of them, if you look closely, where there's the green, I tried to call out where the attachments are. They're going to be hidden. You're not going to see the fasteners up top, and the only fasteners you would see down below, if you go down to the bottom there, where that green arrow points to it, to the red. That red arrow is the only thing you would see from the ground, but you can't because it's set back from the edge of the deck. So you'll not see the fasteners, not a one. That's
Okay.
the only ones there are that would be visible.
Okay. I always have concerns about the use of PVC. I think this is probably recessed from the road enough that it wouldn't be noticeable. But that would be my only concern, but other commissioners may feel differently. So
Thank you very much, Abigail. Peter,
I apologize for, can you hear me now? I apologize for taking the liberty of putting this up on the screen. I actually don't have any other additional concerns. I think the same, my only concern really was what Abigail just raised, which is, will it look like painted wood or not? So that's really my only observation. Otherwise, I think it looks great.
Can I
thank you,
respond
Peter.
to that?
Sure.
Melinda.
Well, Mark did you want to respond, Mark?
Yeah, I mean,
What, do you mind if we
Oh, sure.
give the responses to the
Yeah,
end?
fine. Thank you.
Just make a note of them and then we can go forward very quickly. Melinda. You're muted.
Sorry about that. I have no problem with the materials just because I do think it's so far back, you're not going to see it. And not that many people are going to be up close. So I think it's fine.
Thank you very much, Melinda. I have no objections to the project. And I note that there are many instances where we have accepted synthetic materials. And I think that in this particular case, it applies very well and it's practical. And I think that it's part of our responsibility to approve this type of things. I'm going to ask for public comments first, and then I'm going to ask Mark to answer or clarify any issues that may come up. Are there any public comments? In the absence of public comments, I'll ask Mark to finish any details.
thank you. I just to respond to the PVC versus wood. You really, if last time I was in front of Concord Historical was a long time ago, and I brought in 2 balusters. One was painted wood and one was painted PVC. And I said, tell me which one is which. And I was standing right in front of the board, 3 feet away. Nobody could tell which one was which from 3 feet. So, so from 20
Not an
feet,
issue.
you certainly can't tell. It really is not an issue. I've got stuff that's on National Historic Register now. So basically even National Historic Register has come to see the value in this, and certainly for the homeowner, it's a benefit.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much. If there are any more comments, and then I will ask the commission for a motion to approve with conditions, deny or continue the application of 285 Independence Road.
I make a motion that we approve the application for 285 Independence Road as submitted.
Second?
Second it.
All right, Kate,
Aye.
Abigail,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Melinda,
Aye.
and I am an I as well. So thanks very much for your presentation, and we look forward to sending you the COA.
Thank you very much.
Okay. So let's see how we're going to. Is Paul here? Not yet.
Yes, I am.
Oh, you are.
I
Oh,
am
Paul. Okay.
I am attending, yes.
Let the record show that Paul Ware, full member of the commission, is present by phone, and therefore all voting members will be all full members of the commission, except that Abigail Flanagan will recuse herself from the application of 363 Main Street, and in her place, Kate Schartner will be a voting member. So I think that who's here? I just saw somebody from 363. Where are you? Kevin O'Brien.
I'm here, Luis, sorry. I
Okay,
didn't-
sure.
I-
Well,
I
I'm
didn't
sorry, I
realize-
was looking for my piece of paper and
Sorry
trying to
about
find
that.
to make sure your name was there. Okay, so we had a site visit this morning, which was very informative. And if you want to make a quick summary of the project, including what it's going to be on and so forth, and then
Sure.
we will ask for some discussion and some for public comments.
Okay, thank you. And thanks for braving the cold this morning. The, pardon me. The summary of the project is where the request to add a screened-in porch. And there is a corner of the property that is visible from the public way from the sidewalk. And I presented that 2 weeks ago in drawings, and the committee felt that it would be useful to be there in person. There was also some discussion about a short balustrade around the top of the flat roof that we're putting on this porch. That some committee members raised the question of whether or not that was something we should consider potentially eliminating. And so to that meeting, I brought a revised view from the street and also from the neighboring side elevation. We sort of walked onto the site, and I showed the committee members there's about a 5 foot or 5.5 foot expansion beyond the existing outermost edge, which you'll see in the top right image, that the porch will project. I had marked that out for the presentation the 2 weeks ago with some stakes, but they're tricky to see, much better to tell in person. So we just sort of walked the public way and then up onto the site. And I think that's pretty much the spiel.
Okay, well, thank you very much. I'm gonna go through the commissioners in reverse order as before, and I'm gonna ask Paul Ware first for his comments.
Yeah, I don't have any comments. I wasn't at the site visit this morning, but I have been to the site. I think the proposed changes are perfectly appropriate and consistent with our standards. So I'm in favor of the project.
Thank you very much, Paul. Melinda.
I was at the site this morning, and all my questions were answered, except for the gutter. And I thought it was fine. The whole, it's going to be lovely, and it barely shows from the street, actually, just a corner of it. And so I think it's just fine.
Thank you very much, Melinda. Peter.
I apologize for missing the site visit this morning. I had a last minute call at 8 o'clock. But I had no objections to it. And I frankly, if my fellow commissioners are happy with it, I'm good as well.
Thank you. Kate.
I'll echo what Peter said. I wasn't able to make it to the site visit, but I have walked past that property and sort of peered down it a bit. And with regards to the balustrade, I don't know if there has been a determination yet, how we'll determine that. I could go either way. The house is technically Italianate, probably 1870s. And so that would have been a feature then. I don't know. But I have no objections.
Thank you, Kate. I was in the site visit this morning. I have no objections to the project. I think that it's appropriate and that the changes some of them are not even seen from the street, and whatever is seen, I believe that fits the property well. Are there any public comments? Okay, in the absence of public comments, I'll ask the commissioners for a motion to approve with conditions, continue or deny the application of 363 Main Street.
I'll make a motion that we approve the application for changes to 363 Main Street as presented.
Second?
I'll second.
Melinda seconded. Okay. So I'm gonna go around. Kate,
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Melinda?
Aye.
Paul?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. So congratulations, and we look forward to seeing the addition to 363 Main Street.
Thank you all
Okay.
very much.
Okay, the next project in the discussion is Lauren and William Hewitt in 49 Liberty Street. This is a very exciting and interesting project. It's a very historical house, and it's in a unique location in Concord. And I'm certain that every visitor that comes to Concord has seen that house and has noticed that house. So I think that it's a great privilege for this commission to be able to consider what it's going to be a very interesting change in that structure, and it will bring a number of interesting issues that are in the forefront of historic preservation and in the maintenance of historic references. So I ask who is here. I see that both Lauren and Bill Hewitt are here, but are they who will be presenting?
Mr. Chairman, this is Bill Hewitt. My wife is here as our landscape architect, Lily Morris, our architect, Jen Hart, and our general contractor, Dave Jenkinson.
Well, welcome you all.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, commissioners. It's an even greater privilege for us to do this. I must say, we haven't been working on this all that long, but we've had a blast learning about it. And we honestly look forward to both describing these plans for River Cottage and hearing your perspectives. I just want to give a brief introduction to sort of why we ended up where we ended up, and then turn it over to the professionals. Lauren and I spent a couple of months digging into the history of the cottage and its well-known owners, among them Simon Brown, and of course Jay Keyes and his family. And I must say the archives in town, whether it's the images that some of which were in the submission, Simon's journals, Simon's scrapbooks that are in the library and in the museum are just superb. And it's made us eager to do this work. But we do want to take our time to get the design right. As you point out, there's many interesting choices, and we want to do it right. So we look forward to the first of what I'm sure will be several discussions. If I may, I just spent a little bit of time on the design choices. With all that documented history, 15 photographs and lithographs and a dozen descriptions of the house at various points in time, does create the conundrum, which I assume is kind of central in historic preservation, which is at what time do you focus the restoration? And using this example, there's the choice of the pre-Civil War Gothic Revival homestead, I think best shown in Exhibit 1 and Exhibit 2, the Prang lithograph. There's the late 19th century when the dwelling had been greatly enlarged. I think the Mass Historic Commission estimate was that the house had been doubled in size and had become kind of a country seat for the Keyes family, with all those interesting pictures of the family and carriages. Or the early 1940s, when there were even more additions to the west side of that rear wing. It's, I think, the next exhibit. Yes, that exhibit. I think that's the peak square footage or cubic footage of the house was in that 1940s picture by the Stimson sisters. Lauren and I chose, with the help of Jen, I think, the early end of that timeline. Obviously not in a rigid way. But we did it for two reasons. One is, to the extent it's appropriate in these discussions, as a recognition of Simon Brown at a time when he was kind of at the height of what was a remarkable career that I had no idea. By the early 1860s, when those first two images in the submission were taken, Brown had been in Concord about a decade, 14 years or so. and had established a reputation as a quite active leader in town. He was an energetic abolitionist. He worked with Thoreau on what turned out to be a quite controversial memorial service for John Brown when he was hung at Harper's Ferry. He helped drive the 50-year lawsuit between Concord and Billerica with respect to the height of the Concord River, and engaged Thoreau as the surveyor. And the magazine which he published, interestingly, with Daniel Chester French's uncle as his business partner, was kind of in full flower and showcasing all kinds of innovation on any aspect of being a farmer in New England. And the Prang lithograph shows that farmstead, and I would suggest it's a pretty idyllic picture with orchards and dovecotes and all kinds of interesting things. So I think that's the first reason, as kind of honoring Simon Brown, a quite remarkable citizen who lived in the house. And second, just honestly, Lauren and I prefer, I think, the simpler, symmetric look of that south elevation. It has the paired chimneys and finials, and the smaller rear addition. The southwest elevation, which is I think the primary approach to the house, you're coming from Lowell Road, and the first thing you see is that southwest addition just looks less massive in those early generations of the house than it did in the later stages. So that was the basis then for the design that Jen will talk about. One last point, you saw in our summary, we tried to organize what we're doing into 5 broad buckets of things. In the interest of your time, I'll only comment on one of the 5. I can't resist, and that is the use of both vertical geothermal as the heat system, and the addition, the requested addition of solar panels to those roof surfaces that are either not visible from the street, like the detached barn, or are really hard to see from Liberty Street. And I say that because if you look at Brown's scrapbooks in the library, and there's about 6 of them, and they're about 8 inches thick, and he made notes of every innovation you could conceive of in farming. And it just struck me in reading those that if Simon Brown were alive today, he would probably jump at the chance to install no carbon systems in that house as kind of an innovator. So that's part of our proposal. So with that, I will turn it first over to Lily, who will talk about the site plan, and then we'll hear from Jen.
Great. Good evening. My name is Lily Morse. I'm the landscape architect working on this project. So for the landscape, we really tried to keep it very simple and as much the same as possible. Where we made changes, as Bill mentioned, we tried to go back to some of the earlier photographs and for planting. In the front of the house, there are now 2 existing evergreens. One's a hemlock, one's a cedar, that are failing. And we plan to replace them with 2 elms in the spirit of the historic photograph. And then plant an orchard on the west side of the house, which was also seen in one of the photographs. There's a beautiful set of granite stairs and pavers, large flagstones leading up to the front door, which merely need to be reset. They're shifted and heaved and sunk and really a hazard. So we plan to reset those. There's an existing garden on either side, which we plan to refurbish with perennials. The driveway is an existing gravel driveway, which we plan to keep. The changes to that would be at the entrance right off of Liberty Street. It's currently eroding quite badly, the sand and the gravel onto Liberty Street. There's an existing wall on either side, which is beautiful, which we will keep. And there are 2 granite posts, which we will also keep, though they're tipped and need to be reset, but we are proposing to ameliorate the erosion, putting in an apron of approximately 20 feet long with reclaimed granite curbing laid on its side. So they kind of look like long granite planks. And in the midst of that, we're proposing a strip drain to catch the water before it hits Liberty Street. And that will be sent to a dry well, which is, you won't see. It's going to be underground. It just will keep the water from going down to Liberty Street and help with the erosion. And then towards the house, the driveway will obviously change a little bit as it's going into the new garage, and then there's just a small back out space. Currently, the house has an addition that we are proposing, Jen will describe, get rid of, but there's a modern brick walkway to the house and a modern brick terrace off the back. We would replace the brick with, again, the reclaimed granite and an informal pathway that would lead to the mudroom door. And then off the back of the house and off the proposed deck, not a deck, it's a porch, we would again propose to replace the existing brick with a stone terrace with very simple planting of herbs and perennials around it. There's a large existing yew at the east side of the house, northeast side of the house, which we plan to keep, which largely screens whatever we're doing in the walkway and the entrance to the mudroom from Liberty Street. There's a lot of existing meadow, which we plan to keep. And minimize the lawn to just around the house. And we're still working out the septic, but it will not be obtrusive. And I think that's it. We really are trying to keep the landscape as simple as possible and look like it's always been there, which it has.
Thank you very much, Lily. I guess that we are going to hear from the architects now.
Yes.
Oh, hi, I'm Jen Hart. Can you hear me? Am I on?
Yes,
Okay, great. Okay,
welcome.
thank you. So I'm Jen Hart from Hart Associates Architect and Concord resident, and this house makes my heart go pitter patter every time I go by. It's a favorite, and I am so lucky to be working with the Hewitts and Lily on this project. That's my introduction to me in this house. So as Lily said, our overall goal is to preserve this farm cottage feel that we have here. And I think it's done beautifully in the landscape and the simplicity of that. And that's our goal for the additions to the house as well. There are 3 elements of our proposed architectural work, and I'll go over those in general and get more specific as I go. The first goal, Peter, I think Peter's doing we're going to, okay, let's do that last. And then we've got the first goal is to retain and restore the exterior appearance of the main house facing Liberty, little change since the mid 1800s. And I'll go over the details on how we intend to preserve that as we go along here. The second goal is to replace the rear 1950s addition with a new addition. Well, borrowing from details of the original house and borrowing from details of the 1850 and 1864 additions. As you can see, this is rather sad. Sad for the house back there, and I'm hoping that we will improve upon that. That's the goal. The other addition we will be doing is toward the existing garage. It's actually a workshop, not a garage. And I think there's another view, Peter, too, from the front. There we go. So that will be taken away, and we will replace that with a new mudroom connector, and which will be glassy, and then a new 2-car garage with a loft above. So those are the three main elements of the project: the existing house, the rear L, and the side east L with the garage connected. So it'll be a attached garage essentially, but with the idea of it looking like a barn as it looks now. We're going to jump to the drawings, and I'll go through the architectural set. So we're going to start with, as Bill mentioned, the idea of adding solar panels here, and where we would be locating those. We would have them on the west slope of the car barn roof, and on the east shed dormer, and on the east roof of the main house. And then there is an existing backyard barn, which we believe was once part of the old house. We think that was the rear addition in one of the old photographs. I don't remember which year that was from, but so that's cool. That's a remnant back there, which you wouldn't touch otherwise, except for installing the solar panels. There's also a gazebo on the site that's existing. Again, we wouldn't touch that. That's enclosed with windows. Very cute little spot there. We don't know the era of that either, I don't believe. I don't think, Bill, you dug that up, what year that was built. Okay, next page. We'll go through the existing drawings fairly quick. Oops. Do you know, Bill? Oops.
No, keep going.
Okay. Existing, I just know that we were asked by the Historic Commission to submit square footages. The existing house is 5,780 square feet. That's gross. That includes basement. That includes outside walls and the gazebo and the barn. So it's not a huge house when you consider that you could take away about half of that square footage and get what's actually usable space. Next page. The proposed square footage is 7,180, and that comes out to a delta of 1,328 square feet as shown here. Next page. Basement existing. Next page. So we're just going to show you what we're taking off here quickly. The existing house in the front, obviously, and everything in the back, and the garage removed. Okay, next page. Same, obvious, removing the rear. Okay, existing south elevation. We're removing things like a vent stack. There's a bathroom in that existing front bay, which will, we hope, no longer be a bathroom and be a.
Sorry to interrupt, but could you clarify the south elevation, whether what is their location in reference to the street? Everybody knows where the street is.
Oh,
So
I'm sorry. The south elevation is the Liberty Street view, right?
Exactly.
Straight on view. Yes, thank you.
I think that it makes it a little clearer.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
So that's our main, that's the part of the house we're preserving, that we're all about. In fact, we'll be keeping the existing center oriel bay window with the existing windows, the existing front door, and the existing windows either side. Other windows will be replaced in kind, but those would be the exact windows that we would be keeping in the front door. And then the existing east elevation, which is as you're driving from up Liberty from Lowell Road. So that's as you're seeing that direction. Oh wait,
I'm sorry, it's from the
I'm
other.
wrong. I'm wrong.
From the other
Oh,
side.
wait.
It's
Turn
from
around the other
park,
side. I'm
yeah.
sorry, coming from, yes, from the other direction. Thank you, sorry. Okay, and we're proposing a few changes, minor, and on that elevation in the bay. We'll get into that a little bit more. We have that detailed out, but again, the rear will be coming off. And next, this is the view coming from Lowell. Sorry about that. Existing west elevation, the whole rear comes off. We're proposing to take off the chimney on this elevation, which was added later, post Simon Brown, I believe.
Yes,
Okay.
1890, I think.
And okay, so then removing all of the north elevation that you're seeing there, most of that would go away.
But could I just make one clarification? This is not visible from Lowell Road. You would see much of this from Liberty, but you don't see anything from Lowell Road.
Right. I'm just the direction that I'm coming, exactly, right. And the north elevation, I am quite sure that isn't even visible at all. I don't know if this house in particular, we're reviewing that north elevation, or if that's kind of out of the pure view because it's not viewed in from a public way. So those are the existing plans and elevations, and now we'll go into the proposed. So our addition, basement. First floor plan. We can point out a few things here. Peter, the west porch, new, that's going to be come up as we look at the elevations. That's an important element. The mud hall, we'll point that out, that we're looking there. And then the attached garage, we have put, not my favorite thing to do, but we think it's the right thing here, the faux doors to keep that farm look there, and from the Liberty Street, and then the actual garage doors around the corner. Okay, second floor plan. Looking at some roofs here, this will come up as well. We're proposing on the low pitched roofs, the 1-story roofs, to be standing seam with very low profile standing seam, lead coated copper look. So very muted gray for durability, and well, we think it looks nice. So those are the metal roofs. Next page. Attic plan, there's a little bit of an attic space. I think it might just be helpful here to point out the 2 windows that we're proposing on either end. There's an existing window there that's covered by a fan on the exterior, of a fan shutter. And on the west side, that window, there was once a window there that we're proposing that was covered by the existing chimney, which we're proposing to remove. We're also proposing to rebuild. Again, this is a fake, but that's what we care about from the outside. It will look very real brick, etc. There's not a fireplace that's going down in that location, is what I'm saying. But there'll be a new chimney on the roof in that location. Again, that was an original on the original home. Okay, next page. Okay, south elevation again from Liberty Street. Let's see, you'll see the metal roofs there. You'll see the glass connector, 1-story connector. The 1.5-story barn with the loft above. And then that shed piece where the car doors will be. That's just to break down the scale of that building so it kind of goes into the landscape a bit. East elevation. That the window at the gable that we've uncovered with removed the shutter. The windows in the bay that we are proposing to increase the size from the existing. We have a drawing of that in a photograph that we'll look at in a minute. And then this is the garage door view with the loft above with the shed dormer, with the showing the solar panels. I'm realizing, Peter, we haven't shown the solar panels on the roof beyond. We can add those for you because that roof beyond would also have solar panels. Right there. Okay, there it is. Thank you. We did show it. We just didn't show it in that drawing. So again, that would be covered up partly by that garage in front. Okay, the next page. Again, I don't think there's much to say about the north because we believe that's not in historic. The west elevation, I know it doesn't matter that there's an orchard in front of it, but this will be kind of, it will be filigreed by the orchard leaves and the trees and all of that. So it won't necessarily be a dead on straight elevation we'll be looking at. It's an oblique view from Liberty. Let's see, there's the window we've added in the gable. Again, that was there, and that's where we've taken away the chimney that was there. We're proposing to match in detail approximately anyway. We can get into that on the porch to the front. We just think that really kind of ties it in and makes it feel like a cohesive of a piece. Matching existing clapboards, matching existing trim. The window above that, we're proposing a bay window to get a view from the primary bedroom above, and a kind of a panoramic view of the landscape and the orchard. Next page. Section. And then we have a series of details. You've all seen these, but we'll go through those details. So the first detail is the porch I was talking about. We're proposing to do the same brackets, omitting the small ball finial in the middle of the brackets just to simplify things a bit. We think it's quite a simple, elegant detail at the front, and feel it's appropriate to repeat that elegant, light feeling look. So that's that. Next page, please. So the front, we've talked about that, but a little bit more detail on that. Currently, there's a fixed panel on the storm panel. Well, they take it on and off maybe, but anyway, there's a big panel in front of the French doors behind. Peter, those that point to the doors behind it on the interior. We proposed two pair of storm screen panels on the exterior for energy efficiency, matching the detailing of the existing doors. Okay, and those two doors, and then the centered entry door we propose, again, matching in kind, a storm door, double door panel for the front door, again for energy efficiency, but leaving the front door intact as well, in the same color in the oak. Next page. The rake, the existing rake on the main house is about 2.5 inches thick, carved edge, elaborate of the era. We propose a flat rake board, but matching the rafter tail at the end, and then doing some cutouts similar to the cutouts in the existing. And we just tossed in how they handled that on the newer garage. We would, I think we can do much better than what's shown there, but just it's somewhere between those two, where that's what we're proposing for the rake detail. Okay, next page. And this is just a detail that dormer, our proposed west elevation dormer, bay dormer, is, you know, broader. We didn't do the extra steep roof. We just felt like that was carrying that Gothic, steep Gothic pitch a step too far, and the Gothic arch, we didn't want to continue that being that literal, but to recall that concept and that idea again, to create that space in that primary bedroom and the view. Next page. Windows, we talked a little bit about that. We're proposing to use LePage windows, wood, all wood, matching the historic sill, matching the casing details, leaving existing shutters where they're in good enough condition. We might ask to replace a few after we have evaluated each one, but they would look like the old shutters. There would be it's not written on this page, but I assume we'd have a half screen on the bottom sash. And again, no aluminum storm screen. That would be a double glaze with a simulated divided light. We're happy to show you a sample of that. The muntins would be as thin as possible to match the old muntins. We have details on that. I don't know if you want to get into that level of detail yet. I think it's going to be best for us to get an actual sample for you. Okay, next page. simple here. We're lowering the windows on the dining room bay to match the living room bay, and replacing that asphalt roof with a standing seam roof. Keeping there's some things like the coal chutes. I believe maybe they're both coal chutes. We're keeping these elements of ye olde days, which I think is fun here. Okay, although no coal will be used. So, okay, next page. The round window, the fan that we'd like to remove, the fan shutter we'd like to remove. There's the window from the inside. And then we'd like to use it on both gables. And I will point out that we are proposing to have one less vertical divide. Just the little broader proportions seems more in keeping with the proportions of the other windows in the home. Next page. We've talked about the solar panels. We've talked a little bit about the roof, the main roof just being very low key and matching in pretty much the gray that's there, just freshening it up. Solar panels, and up to the right, we have the look of the standing seam roof that we're proposing, the very matte gray, low profile. And then the last page, oh, the light. And I know there's comments about this light not being appropriate to the age, and we're certainly willing to look at other light sources. And then Peter will just show the rendering. So this is a rendering of the existing and the proposed addition in the back, and the changes that we made removing the chimney. And this is the view coming from Lowell up Liberty. And then the dirt driveway. It's just, I mean, we didn't do any landscape work on this drawing, but I just think it's just that driveway is everything here. Just that lovely, lovely dirt drive with the simple stone steps. It's just extraordinary. You drive by the house every time you come up your driveway. It's a lovely approach. And there's the finial, the added finial, and the second chimney on the roof that we're adding. And that is the presentation. I'm sure I left things out. I'm sure there are questions.
Well, thank you very much. I'm going to ask the members of the commission to make comments and start with Kate.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
That was an incredible presentation. Really enjoyable to see. I appreciate all the thought that went into it. And I like the way you approach the garage by breaking up the planes of the garage with the sort of smaller offset where the entrance is, and the subordinate shed dormer. And I agree with you. Normally, I'm not a fan of faux barn doors, but I thought that looked good. And I feel a lot of it is worthy of the house and appropriate to the time you're trying to create. So I look forward to the site visit that we'll probably have, I guess, but no questions at this point.
Great, thank you.
Thank you very much, Kathleen. Abigail.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to the site visit. Obviously it's a wonderful piece of Concord history. It's prominent in its location. It's a very important property. And I think it's in the hands of good stewards. So that is always wonderful for us to work with. It will come as no shock to anyone on the commission that I'm concerned about the removal of the chimney on the west elevation and reintroducing that west end ridgeline chimney, kind of a faux chimney. So I'll want to take a closer look at that during the site visit. I think the introduction of solar panels and anything along those lines is always something we're in favor of. I'm a little concerned about the visibility of the solar panels on the east roof of the main house. That's something else I'll just want to take a look at during the site visit, just because of the this position of this home on Liberty in relation to the national park and the bridge and all the rest of it. I just want to get clear on that sight line. I think it's mostly blocked, but I think it'll be helpful to see in context. And then my other question was in terms of not the rear later addition, but in terms of the main structure, do you have original windows? Are any of those original? Are any of them of an age that we should be thinking about restoration rather than replacement?
Oh, I think if some of them are original for the original house, that's something we should look into. That's a good idea. When we talked about restoring them, that would just mean we'd have to keep a storm panel on the outside. A few of them, we looked at it as a general question. We didn't look into it thinking like, oh, what window is original to the house, but just thinking for energy.
Yeah, that's something that we'd want like a kind of a full inventory of is, are any of the windows that you're proposing changes to in terms of different divisions and muntins, that type of thing, are any of those original? Because, you know, this period of home with those kind of larger kind of 2/2s, we see that, you know, my home's from a similar period and we certainly have that style of window. So Dennis isn't here tonight. He's another commissioner who is our kind of window, much like I'm fixated on chimneys, he's fixated on windows. We know he will have lots of questions about that. So that's something that I think we'd want more information on. And at the site visit, we can kind of note what is and what is not possibly original or from a very early period. I think that would be helpful. But other than that, I'm looking forward to the site visit. I walk by this house frequently. And so I'm excited to get on the property and take a closer look at what you're proposing. So thank you.
Great.
Thank you, Abby. Peter.
I want to echo Abby and Kate's comments. I think this is a wonderful stewardship of this property. And I look forward to the site visit as well. My only question so far really, Jennifer, is so when I look at the new elevation, there's something about echoing the fretwork or the decorative gable trim that feels a little off to me somehow. And I think frankly, the new east elevation is kind of the most successful because the addition really does sit in contrast to the existing original house. And I sort of like the simplicity, whereas the north and south elevations, you know, trying to recall, I see what that's about, but it feels a little, I don't know, fussy, or I don't know what the right word is. It just sort of catches me a little bit. I love the idea of contrasting the new with the existing. So, but generally, I think it's a lovely composition, and you know, wow, it's going to be great to see this property kind of come to life again. So thank you. That's all I've got at the moment.
Yeah.
Thank you, Peter. Melinda.
I don't have anything to really add. I think everything's been pretty much covered. And I actually would like to see a site visit ahead of your showing us a lot of materials so that we can get a sense of it early on. And I don't know if anybody else feels that way, but it's a complicated house too, in a way, with all these changes. And so I just think it would be interesting and edifying to take a look for ourselves before all the decisions are made.
Would it help for us to have materials on site for that site visit, like a window sample and trim sample, or is that something we do then? Or could do then?
Yeah, as much as possible, it's helpful. As much information as we can get, it's good.
Okay.
You finish, Melinda, right?
Yeah, no, I think that'd be totally fine.
Paul?
I don't think I can add anything substantive to the comments. I think the site visit's important. Obviously, potentially a great project, and I look forward to working with you on it.
Thank you, Paul. I don't have many comments. I think that this is an interesting project because what this project is trying to do is to preserve some historical references or some historic references, but then it's also creating new ones, which are sort of trying to look back to the old ones, but in fact they are quite new. So you could make the argument that what belongs as a new structure that's being added, it's a glass building, which has the same proportions of the old house. Or you could do what you're doing, which is something that looks back at something that could have been there 100 or 150 years ago. And I don't say this in any positive or negative way. I see it as an opportunity, because this is where we get, if we are collectively successful in making this addition, then it will be a substantial accomplishment and a substantial contribution to what it is now a very important historic reference. So I think that that's where the challenge is. I will make some specific comments about connectors. Every time that we get in this commission into a structure called a connector, that we have all kinds of debates and things, because it seems that connectors are always troublesome. So from an architectural standpoint, I would pay a lot of attention to the structure that's connecting the new built structure to the old house. The issue that was mentioned about restoring the windows, I think that should be looked at very carefully, because there are some times when we will accept that some old windows, and I mean old quotes, be discarded and new ones that look exactly the same be added. But that is probably not the case in this house, because this house is too valuable as a historic reference. So in this setting, we probably will be in favor of restoring the windows, which has a number of implications. But I think that in this setting, it's worth trying to make that effort. And the final thing is that I think that the overall way that we should look at this project is that we are maintaining the historic reference of the house, but we're adding some new historic references. So I think that what we need to do collectively, both the applicant and ourselves as a commission, is to find where is that equilibrium of making something new that gives the impression that it's old, or making something new that says it's new, but it's from a different era. You see that there are many ways to solve that problem. And I think that that's the reason, as I have said before, that's the reason God created architects, because they can find those issues. So I'm going to ask for public comments. Are there any public comments? Okay. If there are no public comments, I will mention that it seems that there's a consensus within the commission to have a site visit. And that site visit would be at the date of our next meeting, which will be, Anne, if you can help me out, is November 3rd, or is the one from?
That would be November 3rd, Louise.
November 3rd.
The 3rd, yep.
Okay.
And that
so
would be at 7:10.
No, that would be at 8.
it will be at 8 in the morning.
Oh, sorry, I meant on the hearing, on the agenda.
No, the site visit would be November 3rd at 8 a.m. And,
Well, 7 o'clock for donuts, right? Donuts and coffee at
Well,
7.
It's a beautiful place for coffee and donuts.
Just kidding, just kidding.
You will be dinged, Peter, for comments. So I think that I will ask the commission for a vote to continue the application of 49 Liberty Street to the meeting of November 3rd.
I will move that we continue this application at 49 Liberty Street to an 8 a.m. site visit on November 3rd.
So, sorry, Luis, it looks like Bill Hewitt has his hand
Oh.
raised.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I don't mean to interrupt the procedure. I just wanted to say thank you, but I can do that. I wanted too specific. I'll wait till you vote. I wasn't aware of your procedure, so I'll hang on. Thank you.
We'll be here. Don't worry.
All right.
All right. Did we hear second for the motion to continue the application? Melinda seconded. So I'll go quickly. Kate
Aye.
and Abigail,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Melinda,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. So we look forward to see you on November 3rd at 8 in the morning. And we will have a consideration of the application the same evening at 7 p.m. or thereafter. Thank you so very much. And thanks for the comments of Mr. Hewitt.
Thank
If
you
I
all.
could,
His
if I could
hand is
just.
up. Please,
No,
go
I
ahead.
just, first, this is exactly what we're looking for. I mentioned at the start, we want to do this right and very much appreciate your thoughts. It's probably not ethical for us to supply the donuts, but I would encourage you, if you want to come by early, the place really grows on you. And a long enough site visit is, I think, time well spent. It's just a neat place. So look forward to spending time with you there and hearing your firsthand observations.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to move to the next application, which is 48 Monument Square, the Colonial Inn, to repaint the Colonial Inn. Anybody from the Colonial Inn here?
Michael Glick from Colonial
Mr.
Inn.
Glick, welcome.
Good evening. So we are looking for permission to repaint the Colonial Inn siding color. We had come before the board in spring of 2020 with the exact same request, looking to paint just the siding, not the doors, the shutters, or the trim, just the existing brown or light brown siding to a custom color called Bedford Village Inn Yellow. We did receive approval at that time, but since it was COVID time, we didn't have the ability to do so. We did seek an extension of 6 months, which we did receive, but that still being COVID, we were unable to complete the work at that time. Now we're looking to do the exact same request, nothing changing. In that slide, I see there at item 3, slide 3, that is the yellow that we're proposing. That current view is on the Lowell Street side of the inn. And again, that everything that's currently brown or the light brown color would go to that Bedford Village Inn, which we think is a very traditional historic looking color. Not our sister inn, but another inn in New Hampshire, is where we saw that color and loved that color, similar aged type building. So we're hoping that we can move forward with our old plan and repaint the building in that color yellow.
Okay, thank you very much. I remember these applications that we had some swatches painted. I think that's probably what we're seeing in the picture. Okay, I'm going to ask Paul to make comments. Is Paul with us? He's muted. Paul? Well, let's go to Melinda then. We'll go back to Paul. Any
I
comments?
like the color in 2020 and I like the color now. And it's fine with me.
Thank you so much, Peter.
I agree. It's going to be a huge improvement to Monument Square to get something other than gray in the Monument Square area. So I like it.
Thanks very much. Abigail?
Yeah, I have no objection to the color. Just to clarify, you said are you not repainting the trim or the doors, or you're just not changing the color?
We're repainting everything, but not changing the color. So
Okay.
all fresh paint everywhere. Only change would be in the siding color.
Wonderful. My one comment was going to be like, it's such a nice new color, but the trim needs painting.
Yes. The whole building's in dire need of paint. Yeah.
Okay,
So yes,
great.
the whole building will get new paint.
Fantastic. Then I have no objection.
Thank you, Abigail. Kate,
No objections. I liked it the last time and I still like it. And I've seen it on that inn in New Hampshire. It'll look great.
thank you, Kate. Is Paul back with us?
Yes, I agree with those comments. I like the color. So I'm in favor.
Thank you very much, Paul. I will make a comment which was made by a member of our commission. He pointed out to me. He's not present, but I will echo his comment, and it's more of a matter of curiosity, which is that if there was any consideration, as we know that these are two different houses, and whether there was a consideration of painting the houses in different shades of yellow, just to make that difference, that are two actual different structures and different times and so forth, instead of having a unifying paint in both buildings, to say so. Was there any consideration of that option?
Actually, we did not consider that. I was just a unique perspective. I think we looked at the existing building being currently painted as one color. I wasn't involved in the initial proposal, but I don't think we ever considered it.
Okay. Is that something that you would be interested in considering? You see, I'm not saying it from any other perspective of your own opportunity to say so. If you think that this is something that would be very interesting and you want to,
I think we probably, from a time sake, I'm on a time clock as far as I need to start painting literally next week to get this done before winter sets in. So I'd hate to have to come back and delay. So I think I'd like to seek the same color, I guess.
Okay. Well, thank you very much. Are there any public comments about the application of the Colonial Inn?
Well, Mr. Chairman, this is Paul, but I think one of the facts of life with yellow is that you're going to end up with different shades anyway, dependent upon sun exposure and so on. I mean, all of these, any major house that's painted yellow ends up fading in some areas and not fading so much in others. So you may get your wish without forcing the applicant to make any change whatsoever.
I have a yellow house, so I know exactly what you're talking about. All right, so in the absence of any public comments, I will ask the commission for a motion.
I move that we approve the application to repaint the Colonial Inn as presented.
Second?
Second.
Second.
Okay, Kate,
Aye.
Abigail,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Melinda,
Aye.
Paul,
Aye.
and I am an aye as well. So congratulations, and hopefully you will be able to start very soon.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Same to you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
All right, so we have some matters in the other business. The first one is a certificate extension for 19 Sudbury Road, the certificate of approval 2222. Do we have any information with that application? And Anne? It's not here. Yes. Please, she's muted. What is this certificate extension about?
Can Haley answer that question? I'm kind of,
Yes.
she's running this.
So, one moment.
Actually,
it's a window lead time issue.
if I may.
Yeah, sure. Go ahead. So
Yeah,
I just
okay.
wanted to know exactly what we're talking about, but if you want,
Yes.
please go ahead and make the explanation.
So
Welcome.
my name is Michael Langione. I'm here on behalf of Mark Stein and Rosa Hallowell for this project. We're seeking an extension of the COA because we had initially planned on hiring a company that would come in, they would build the entire orangery off-site and then bring it and ship it all in and piece it together on site. And in interest of saving money and having that shipped from the UK, we're going to be building it all on site in-house with our carpenters, which meant we needed to go to find a place that could custom make windows and doors, exactly how it was shown on the plans that were approved by this commission. And that just was a very long process with the architect and a company that in the Cape to get all these details correct, and then get the order placed. So it was more, we were planning to start this in April, May of this year, but it took the entire summer to get all the details sorted out. And we were able to place the window order on Monday, and we're now planning to start in April of 2023. So we're seeking an extension of our COA.
Thank you very much.
Yep.
Any comments from the commissioners? Kate?
No, I've had this problem myself, so no complaints.
Okay. Thank you. Abigail?
Nope, these types of delays for the last 2 years have just been standard operating practice for a lot of our applicants. So I have no objection to extending the COA.
Peter?
I'm good.
Melinda?
I'm good too.
And Paul?
Same.
And I'm in agreement. So I will ask for a motion to extend the certificate of approval of Sudbury Road.
I move that we extend the certificate of approval for a period of, how long do we extend it for? That's my
6 months.
6 months.
Speaking.
6 months from today? Or no?
No,
Yes.
it would be today.
Okay. That's my motion.
Yep.
It's very messy motion.
Seconds.
Will that give them enough time?
Yeah, that's a good question.
Yeah, I also want to propose that we amend the motion saying that it's extended for a period of 6 months, renewable administratively to another 6 months, because I don't think there's anything inappropriate. It is a strictly an administrative delay.
If that's okay to do, I'm happy to accept that friendly amendment there.
Because that will keep us with okay, so let's record the motion as being for an extension of 6 months that can be renewed administratively for another 6 months. Is that okay with you, Abby? You are our legal consultant.
Yeah, yes, I think that's fine in this instance.
Okay. So do we have a second to that motion?
I'll second.
Okay, so I'll go around. Paul?
Yes, agreed. Yes.
Agreed. Melinda?
Aye.
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Abigail?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. Well, there you have it.
The ayes have it.
The ayes have
Good
it.
luck.
Well, good luck with your construction.
Thank you.
All right, so we're going to move to the other business, which is minutes from August 18 and September 1st. I'm happy that Abby is here because he will keep us in check. I checked both minutes. One of them had been approved before, but we didn't vote, so we have to do it again. And I don't see anything of note on them.
Yeah, no, I had no objection. I'll move that we approve the minutes for 8/18 as revised and 9/1 as submitted.
Second.
All right, Paul?
Aye.
Melinda?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Abigail?
Aye.
Kate?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well.
Excuse me, Louise.
Did I?
Sorry, before I forget, on the certificate of appropriateness, that we just saw on the screen. Appropriateness is missing an E.
You spent too long in Italy.
Oh, gosh.
It says appropriateness, missing an E before NESS. It just flashed on there, but I used to be a proofreader, just throwing that out there.
Okay.
Okay, I just want to let you know that you have been awarded the Historic Districts Commission Detective of the Year Award.
Proofreader.
The syntax and orthography police
It just was screaming at me. I don't know how I noticed it before.
has made you an honorary member.
Excellent, thank you. Sorry, but while we were doing housekeeping and proofreading things, I had to throw that out there.
Well, I think that Anne will make sure that it's taken care of. You see, otherwise, we'll be back.
Mhm.
Well, this is a town forum. It's gonna have to go to town meeting.
Right.
All right, I'll speak. Okay, I'm ready.
Microphone number 1.
All right. So I just wanted to make a couple of comments, which is that the end of the year is approaching, and some of us or some of our members will complete their service in the HDC, so they will disappear to great chagrin of many of us. And that will leave some vacancies in the commission. We still have an open slot that we have been carrying for better part of the pandemic. And that we will have at least 1 or 2 more. So I am urging everybody to contact friends, relatives, friends and enemies, and all sorts of things and try to identify people who will be willing and able to serve in our commission. I think that we serve an important role, and that I think that people, once they learn what it's all about, they will be eager to be of service to the town through the Historic Districts Commission. In a different matter, I'll today finally, after several drafts, a letter was delivered supporting the application of the Historic Commission for a grant that we had discussed in the previous meeting. And this is one of the steps in our efforts to make a closer collaboration with the Historic Commission that we also discussed in last meeting. And I'm going to speak with Melissa Saffield to see how she envisions implementing this collaboration, whether we go to their meetings, they come to our meetings, or who will go, et cetera, et cetera. But I think that it would be in our favor, and actually, I think that it really will benefit if we make these 2 commissions to work in a very close collaborative way. And if there are no other issues that anybody wants to bring up, I will call for a motion to finish the meeting.
I'll move that we adjourn.
Second.
Peter?
Aye.
Abigail?
Aye.
Melinda? Kate?
Aye.
Who am I missing?
Paul?
Paul.
Paul?
Aye.
And I'm an aye as well. So good night to everyone.
Nice to see you all.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for-
Thanks, Luis. Good job.